Just go right into it.
That's where
I read it on the show. When I found that passage, I just went, "This is too good." And but yeah, it's an amazing thing to see erupt in a presidential debate, and to see him have to deal with it.
I think that they had the best thing that ever happened to President Obama was this cavalcade of clowns.
Oh no, he's so lucky with these opponents.
He really is.
Yeah.
Because even Romney, I met him in 2007 and talked to him 15, 20 minutes.
Where did you meet Romney?
At Jay Leno.
Oh yeah, of course. Where else?
Yeah. And his that kind of entitled, superior kind of attitude that really kind of has the country where it is right now. He had it, and he reminded me of a car salesman, but not like Fords and Subarus. He sold Bentleys and Mercedes, but he was the same slick kind of. And I think that his biggest problem is that although that a lot of red states hate the fact that there is a black president, they hate more and more. They don't necessarily. They don't know what that is. If you don't confess Jesus Christ, they don't get it. And I think ultimately it'll be too much for him. Plus, he's just not a relatable human being.
Right.
Newt Gingrich said that if you were janitor should overpay. Now, janitor in New York City makes $106,000 top end. My father raised 4 kids as a janitor. Imagine what would have happened if he'd have came home and his children had his job. Imagine. You know the lesson I'd have learned? Yes, I'd have learned to work because I'd have had to, because my father would have left. That's the lesson I'd have learned. For a group of people who claim to be so committed to the family, nothing is more destructive to a family than a man not being able to provide. And it's just an amazing thing to watch people cheer at that. And I think all he didn't say to Juan Williams was bored. He said Juan like bored. And for him to allow it, I would have never allowed him to say that to me in front of us. I would have never allowed him.
What would you have said?
I'd have said, just like President Obama, when Joe Smith said to him, when Wilson said he was a liar, I think that started that whole thing. He could have said, you don't have to respect me, but I'm the President of the United States of America. Somebody remove him, Sergeant of Arms, remove him from this proceeding. It would have been over there. They would have never, you can't, they're bullies. Right. And they smell blood in the water. I respect the fact that Newt Gingrich has redeemed himself. You know what? So most of the cats I know in prison turn to Jesus Christ. They don't get to get out. They still got to serve their time.
Right.
You don't get to go, hey, I love Jesus, now let me go. That's not what happens.
Right.
If that's the case, then everybody I know about. I think that he does to Jesus. Whenever I hear a Southern evangelical say Jesus, I've never seen more vitriol, more hatred, more selfishness. Jesus was all about the poor. Nobody hates the poor more than a Southern evangelical. Nobody. If I've read a lot of books in the Bible, I never read the book of asshole. I don't know what it is. It's just too much. And you watch, they cheer about from a gay soldier, a man dying. They cheer about poor people. I venture to say that poor people have poor work habits. My father worked harder than any man running for president in the United States of America. I would put my father's work in. And my father didn't give me a sense of intelligence. You know what my father gave me? He gave me a work ethic. He said, you don't want to be a thoroughbred, they die out early. You want to be a mule, they last forever. I defy anybody to tell me that my father didn't work harder. Who works harder? A man who's floating or a man who's drowning? It's just ridiculous.
Right. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Right.
And for him to pretend, I won't say that we're not complicit in our community, in our demise. But I will say this, that apathy and people giving you, 15 years ago, 12 years ago, I bought the school I went to, the elementary school I went to, I bought them a new library. 12 years ago, you know what the books in that library said? One day a man will walk on the moon. How can they ever catch up?
Right.
Ever.
Right.
You know what I had to do when my children went from school, from LA school district to school in the valley? From the time they were 4, 5, and 6 years old, I had to buy them tutors to the time they were 18. I had to pay for tutors. My oldest daughter went to Smith, my son just graduated from Columbia, my youngest daughter. But they'd have never, if I didn't have the resources to get them, they'd have never caught up. They were that far ahead of me.
Right.
So stop with the people who have poor work ethic. At a certain point, we spend more money. This government will have me believe that it's more probable that they can give democracy to Iraq than to give a black man a diploma. That's more feasible.
Yeah. We know how to do that.
Right. Yeah. So I don't understand the precepts.
Yeah.
The only, and I understand this is an incredibly difficult time, and I understand it. Honestly, I thought a lot of it. I think that President Obama hasn't been as active as I would like him to be. Honestly, if the unemployment rate were as high for a white president right now, black people would be in the streets. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's a certain amount of culpability you have, but also that when you have a group of people that say we want you to fail, if you were an athlete and you kept telling yourself you were going to miss or you were never going to win, that you keep recycling that and you start to not be able to win.
Mm-hmm. That's what slumps are all about.
That's what they're all about. Yeah. They start to believe.
It's all in the head.
It's all in the head. And so when you have leaders actively saying that before he ever takes office, I want him to fail. My job is to make sure he's a one-term president. These things start to seed in our mind, and we become failure. Mm-hmm. I didn't like Ronald Reagan, but the thing he did do was made this country feel good about us. And even he would say, when did old white men get to be experts on poor black people? When did that happen, man? Like, they can tell us what we need. Like, you have a guy writing a journal in the Wall Street Journal talking about if I were a poor black boy, and then you have, people telling black people what they need to do. And it's an amazing thing. No one would decide they would take this job. No one. Yeah. So, when I watched him, like I watched Herman Cain, secretly they had to be relieved because it had to be difficult to support a black candidate and still try to find a way to stop black people from voting. That had to be to be difficult.
Yeah, it's too. But hey, did you know the president could sing?
I did.
Oh, you did? You've heard him sing?
Yeah. No, I didn't. But he just walked like he could sing.
Yeah, he walked like he could sing.
Because he can't dance. He can't dance.
Yeah.
So he had to fill out one of the slots. I think he's human. Do you know? I think one of people's biggest fears is public speaking, but singing outside the shower is probably way up there. And I think to do that, it is kind of an unvarnished look at like everything most of these people do is so practiced that. A human moment like when he goes, you didn't think I would do it, and I did. I mean, I think that's why. It's certainly why I forgive him for a lot of what I've said.
I was once at a political event in Ireland about 20 years ago, and this politician got up and started to sing, which is a very common political tradition there. And at first I thought, this is the most hack, ridiculous thing I've ever seen. These guys actually sing and people care. And about, 30 seconds in, I thought, wait a minute. I want all politicians to have to sing because things started to come out. You actually started to feel something about this guy. I mean, I actually think there's magic in it now. And I would love to just require singing.
It's the universal language. I think that it is like being negative from it.
Yeah. But I can't sing, so what I got to do now is you're going to have to teach me how to walk like I can sing. That's the job. Walk like I can sing. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.